All right. Are we live? We're live on Facebook, I believe. And
Yeah, I see
what up,
ourselves
guys?
in
Okay,
our
awesome.
first simul broadcast.
Simulcast on multiple platforms, everyone. Hello, wherever you're tuning into us from, whether it's Kumu, Facebook, LinkedIn, I believe.
Live, LinkedIn
Welcome.
Live, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there we are. There we are. We're gonna take this first couple of minutes to keep on sharing this live stream. Share it with your friends for everyone who wants to learn more about AJ's work as well as NFTs, right? Non fungible tokens. Please share the live. Gonna do that right now.
I'm sharing it on my socials. Facebook and Kumu.
Hello, hello.
LinkedIn
Welcome.
Live pa pala, no? I have to
Yeah,
log into my
AJ,
LinkedIn.
have you ever AJ? Are you familiar with LinkedIn Live? I haven't heard of it.
No. Yeah. Well, I've seen some people do it, but
Okay.
I don't really watch it. Sometimes I catch some people like leave.
Well, now you're on it, so congrats.
Yeah.
I don't know where to find this, but yeah, I'm gonna share our
Yeah.
post right now.
I didn't know, ano pala, ang LinkedIn ngayon is it's very social media ina rin. It's not just a job search platform. Like,
Right.
people actively share stuff like articles, videos.
You know,
Interesting.
They've been doing that for a bit.
LinkedIn is
Uh,
super powerful. People should
yeah.
join that, especially creative people.
I use LinkedIn a lot, AJ.
I do. I do. The some
Ah.
opportunities have come from LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's actually one of the best platforms to be a
Nice.
creative person.
Interesting. Well, we can
I'm
talk
gonna
more
connect.
about. Yeah, connect on
I'm gonna
LinkedIn.
connect. Yeah, I'm gonna link in.
Let's see.
We're planning to be link influencers. May term mo
Uh,
ganun. Link
there you
influencers.
go. Shout
I
out.
think ikaw
Hello,
Pawi sabi nun.
everyone. I'm looking at our Kumu viewers right now. Hey, Boss Bobby, Edwards, Edwardson Lim, and Bianx Babista. Welcome. Make sure to share that live for all of you on Facebook as well. Please spread the word. We have a very exciting discussion coming up with AJ Dimarucot. So we'll be talking about NFTs. We can get this. We can get the ball rolling in a bit. Anything I missed out on,
Yeah.
Tristan?
Yeah, I think just remind the viewers lang na we're gonna be more active on Kumu. So if you're
Mm,
watching via Facebook, feel free to download the Kumu app and follow us at raptor.com. You spell out the .dot.com. Yeah.
nice, nice.
Na,
Yeah. Tristan, do you know much? Do you know much about NFTs?
alam mo, that's a thing like before this app, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like I talked to you about this earlier. I said, Pawi, wala akong alam masyado sa NFT. Then you were like, hindi, okay lang yan. That's like you play the part of the newbie in
I'm,
this convo. But I
I'm
did
a
some,
newbie too.
yeah,
So
I did
yeah,
some brief reading
We all
naman.
are.
So
yeah. I was gonna say, AJ. One of the first times I learned about NFTs was chatting with you on Clubhouse. So there you go, right?
Yep. I'm learning along the way as well. So we're
uh,
all new to it. Everyone's new to
nice.
it, except for
when did
the
it?
really OG people that
Yeah.
I can talk about also from the Philippines.
When did it break out ba? Parang last year, no? Parang kasi I remember when people started talking about it. I think it was Nyan Cat and the rest. Parang I was trying to wrap my head
Mm,
around it, around
Nyancat
like the concept pa
NFT.
lang. Yeah.
Well, it exploded this year, but last year it was already around. And then it was really the NBA Top Shot that really
Oh
Right.
yeah.
made it. That was probably the biggest, and still the biggest in terms of volume. I think
Mm,
one of the two.
makes sense.
But the collectibles and the art stuff this year and last year. So like Nine Cat sold this year yata for $500,000 or
Oh my
something.
Sino rin
gosh.
yun, ah?
I feel
You
like
know
it would
this
have sold
meme?
for more. This
Yeah,
guy
the
You
just
know
meme.
this meme? The kid na may burning background. Alam
Ah,
mo yun,
yeah,
parang,
yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
sold
parang
that too?
yeah, she sold
they
it.
sold
Tapos
that.
parang, sabi niya pang college fund daw niya yun.
Okay,
Yung
good. I
ano,
was like,
si Charlie bit me also
Oh
Charlie.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
The
Charlie,
Special
700,
place.
yeah,
Charlie birthday.
700,000. Yeah,
Special place in our hearts. Well, anyway, we're gonna delve into all the technical ongoings behind all of that, and also the creative ongoings. I think we can get this show started, right, guys? So welcome everybody watching from wherever you are. This is Hustle Inside the Industry, where we talk to professionals and find out how they got here, why they're doing what they do, and what it takes to do it. So we are live right now here on Rappler and Kumu and LinkedIn. If you're streaming us on Kumu right now, please join in the conversation. You can send over some questions or some diamonds, especially if you like what you hear. But yeah, if you have questions for AJ, whether it be about art or NFTs, please send them our way.
Like Tawi said, we're gonna be more active on Kumu. So if you don't have the app yet, just download it. It's Kumu. That's Kumu. And when you do, follow Rapper.com. Again, we spell out the .com, so that's Rapper DOTCOM.
Awesome. And if you really like this interview and you want to play it back in podcast form, we are a podcast after all. Follow Hustle Inside the Industry on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform if it's not Spotify. This episode comes out on Monday, July 19. Again, that's next Monday, July 19. So, as always, this is Powie.
And this is Tristan. We are part of Rapper's Hustle team.
Okay, so
We are Rapper's Hustle team. So.
we are, yeah, yeah. You are with us. If you like, you know, lately we've been talking a lot about art, and we've been talking a lot about tech, but now we're going to combine the two. We're going to talk to someone who's well known in the former and quickly carving his name in the latter. It's AJ Dimarucot. He's a world-renowned graphic designer known for his basketball and pop culture illustrations, but more recently, if you haven't heard, he's ventured deep into a space many of us are starting to hear about: non-fungible tokens, aka NFTs, usually talked about alongside crypto. But anyway, together with the First Mint Fund, AJ is producing the first collection of Filipino NFTs, and he's here to tell us all about it. So, welcome, AJ. Welcome to Inside the Industry.
Hey AJ.
hey guys, what's up? Thanks for having me. Just
Just
Nice.
yeah, glad to be hustled. I like the name of the
yeah, we're
show.
hustling, diba? Late at night. So before we get into the nitty-gritties, I know like NFTs, it's such a new concept na I was telling you and Pao before the show that I myself am not yet that well versed in the topic. So before we start diving deep, can you tell us what are non-fungible tokens and like how do they work? Like what are the basics?
Siguro let's no, let's dissect those words, no.
Yeah.
Non-fungible. Oo
So
nga. Fungible,
let's
what does
say,
it mean?
yeah, everybody's saying, parang, why did they use this name? Because it's so hard to explain, di ba? Parang non-fungible kasi fungible. I even had to also go through that and try to understand what it is. So apparently, like fungibility is, or when something is fungible, that means you can replace it with something else. So the most fungible things in the world is money. So if I gave you Pawi 100 pesos and and lent it to you and he said, AJ, I'll pay you back next week dalawang 50. It doesn't matter, right? It's
Mm.
fungible. It can be replaced. It's the same. Or you can have 10 pesos or coins and give me 10 pieces of that. It's the same.
Or I
It's
give you a different
fungible.
coin, like it's a different 10
Yeah,
peso coin than the one you
Yeah.
yeah,
gave
it
me.
doesn't matter. Kumbaga, it can be replaced. So yung non-fungible, hindi siya mapapalitan. So if I gave you $100 peso na unique and it was minted in 1963 na may mali siya. It's just a wrong print. It's a
Collector's
misprint.
edition.
Yeah, it's just one item in the
Wow.
world. Then you can't replace it with any other 100 peso bill.
Parang
Kasi
Beyonce lang irreplaceable.
yeah, in my example, Beyonce is never can never replace Beyonce. You can never
Ayan.
replace You can never replace the I know the Mona Lisa. It's just one piece in the
Yeah.
world. So yun yung non-fungible. Hindi mo siya mapapalitan. So yung NFTs, they're able to create any digital media that you put on the blockchain. So I've added a new word, the blockchain. So by my understanding, the blockchain naman is, so let's leave it that first. But when you put the NFT on
Sure.
the block, a digital media on the blockchain, and then you say this is the NFT, this is where it's at. You can say na parang it's unique kasi it's on the blockchain. Para siyang the blockchain is something like they call it a public ledger. So
Yeah.
parang
I've heard that nga, public ledger.
yeah, so imagine meron tayong public library na yung lahat nung books na binaborrow, we can all
Mhm.
see. Si Pawi borrowed a book
Uh,
on
at the
whatever.
exact time, no, at the
Yeah,
exact date and time that it
Yeah.
happened for
and you
all
can
it.
only add entries in that logbook. Kumbaga, I can only add, Pawi borrowed this book, Tristan borrowed this book. You can only add into that public logbook. You can't delete, you can't erase, you can't change. So that's how they made yung NFTs something that you can prove to be unique on kasi it's a digital file. Para siyang if I send you an image that I took on my phone, you can copy it. You can send another 10 images of it. It's the same. But if you put it on the blockchain as an NFT, nakamark na siya doon, na may entry na siya na
Yes,
it
yes.
was created by Pawi on this day. And this is the file that he placed there. It's an image, picture of the sunset. So kaya siya naging unique tokens. And since pwede mo na siyang ma-prove na this is a unique thing, so people can start parang owning them.
Mhm.
So yun yung concept niya. That's why people can sell them, people can buy them, and because it shows there on the blockchain, uh, some Tristan bought Pawi's NFT, so nakamark na for this much. So yeah, so think about it
Yeah.
as NFTs are not just the file or the image. It's that whole technology
May ano
behind it.
siya, may mark of authenticity siya. I remember, Pawi, since you're
There's a
also
Yeah.
mark.
into comic books,
Uh-uh,
di ba
uh-uh.
minsan if you buy a rare first cover, first print comic,
Yeah.
minsan may kasama siyang parang paper saying this is like a
You can have
rare
that appraised even.
Yes.
A
appraisal.
lot of
Yeah, yeah.
antiques. Uh-uh.
Yan mismo siya. The certificate siya na
Mm,
and na think of it on a digital format na certificate.
sure. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of education coming our way.
I brought my
I hope.
notebook. Take
Yeah,
notes.
yeah. There you go. If you like what you hear,
NFT.
if you're one of our Kumu viewers, please show us some love for send some diamonds for all that info. We're just getting started here. I'm gonna introduce a new term, yet another piece of jargon here that inevitably we're gonna end up talking about it, so we should define it also, which is minting, right? Minting NFTs, like the fund is called the first mint fund. So again, it seems like from my experience, AJ, a big hurdle with the creation of NFTs, if you will, is that it's actually a pretty a hard process. Now there's actual capital that goes in. It's called minting the NFT. Now, so turning the art into this digital, blockchain backed product, and they call it gas fees. I assume that's slang, right? So can you quickly tell us just how much work it takes to mint an NFT, and why is it so costly?
Okay. Um, the blockchain kasi is where you put the NFT to live. There is no central owner of it. There's no central parang there are no Googles, there are no Facebooks, there are no Instagrams in the world of the blockchain in a sense. Uh, so when you create NFTs, um, on the blockchain, meron tayong tinatawag na miners. Yung mga miners, sila yung nagke-create ng transaction on the blockchain. So
And by the way,
imagine
this is the
yung
same with crypto, right? It's more or less the
Yeah.
yes.
same thing. Okay.
Yeah, so yung mga miners, sila yung remember the logbook that we
Mm.
put on the public library. Or I have another analogy. It's the restaurant analogy. Think of the blockchain as a big worldwide restaurant where there are no waiters that are hired are, that are employed by the restaurant. So anytime you need to ask something from a waiter or a wait staff, you have to pay somebody to do it for you, right? So you have to offer them. It's actually a bidding process. You have to
Mm.
bribe them with money and say, "Can you please get me a menu for the food here?" So the more
Freelancer
money,
lahat ng waiter.
freelancer lahat ng
Freelancer lahat
waiter.
ng waiter.
Wow.
Yes, yes,
Di ba?
yes.
Galing.
Isipin mo freelancer lahat. So when you create the NFTs, freelancer lahat yung nagpa-process ng lahat na yun. Isipin mo kung government agency siya, parang palpak, di ba? Kasi pera yung lalabas mo, di ba? Oy, kunin mo yung papeles na yun para masign ko. May 200 pesos ako, kunin mo yun para sa akin. Ganun siya.
I
Ganun ang process ng block minting on the blockchain. So pag kinuha mo yung menu, babayaran mo siya ng 200. Tapos, pag nag-order ka, o mag-order na ako, babayaran kita ng 200 ulit. Bigyan mo ako ng baso ng tubig, bibigyan kita ng 100.
Wow.
Lahat yun may gastos. Ang tawag doon gas fee. So anytime
Ah.
you create an NFT and you put it on the blockchain, you have to pay the miners or the restaurant staff a gas fee or like a tip,
Mm.
basically. So that I will take your tip and I will put your NFT on the blockchain and I will do whatever stuff I do in my as a miner that we don't understand.
Yes, but it's in this decentralized network. Like it's not like you're tipping, Fred. You don't know who you're tipping. No,
You
it's
don't know
just
who you're
it goes
tipping
out and
because the blockchain lives all over the world. It lives on
Yeah,
a computer
decentralized
in
net, yeah.
yeah, it lives in a computer in the Philippines, in Japan, in Australia, and the miners are also all over the world. So
got
you're
it.
basically tipping them to process things for you. Kasi nga wala nga website na um, like central websites. So, but there are marketplaces like the Amazons of the NFT world, where you can sell the work there, where you can
Mm.
mint the work and then you have to list the work. So akala ko it's just a simple upload na okay, upload the work to
Right.
this
Yeah.
website and then tapos na. Yung pala, yung
Uh,
pag-upload mo, may bayad yon.
uh,
Tapos, para ma-list mo yung upload mo na mabenta mo siya as an NFT, may bayad din yon. So,
wow.
and it doesn't go to the platform that you upload on. It goes to the miners nga yung mga bayad
Yeah.
nila. So, may freelance, kumbaga meron silang freelance waiters yung
Yeah.
platform na where you can mint and sell.
I think in a way, parang the way I'm processing it right now, it's like the internet is course correcting itself. Because like, especially for like creatives, like I think one of the big problems that parang the internet age change was like everything's easily uploaded. Everything's like your work is basically out there na, and parang it's anyone can copy it. So parang by adding these
Yes.
steps, you also add protection, di ba? Sa gastos
Yes.
fees na to. Gastos.
Yun kasi
Different
yung
concept.
value ng itong new world na to, yung tinatawag nilang decentralization. You mentioned it earlier, Tristan. So if whenever we upload pictures and videos to YouTube and Instagram and all those places, meron silang right to use your work. Kumbaga, they have the right to make money off of your work. So what the decentralized world tries to do is that you control all your media and nobody else owns them except yourself. So
Yeah.
yun, when you sign up to the IGs of this world, actually you sign your rights to the work na
Yeah.
sige, pwede mong pirahan tong gawa ko IG. Yeah. So yung change ng decentralized systems like the blockchain and NFTs is that every media that you create is owned by you and nobody else owns it. Parang ganun.
Nice.
Oh, nga, kasi like the issues of ownership, it's like it's prevalent not just sa small pero like even in big tech with like what you mentioned nga YouTube and even Spotify, diba? The artists are like given they pick the short stick. So anyway, talking of artistry, so we normally do this. We want to scale back and like go into the secret origins of our guests. So AJ, you've already built a name like as a well-known graphic artist, a graphic designer, art director. So how did you get into this? Before we get into your journey into NFTs, then how did you get into your journey into arts and illustration?
Mhm.
Actually, it's the same. Everything that I've got into is the same. The way I got into NFTs is how I got into my career as a designer. It's just really a stubborn,
Mm.
parang curiosity to go with what I'm really interested in. So I'm not a designer by formally educated in that sense. I just discovered this software called Photoshop in the 90s and bought a book called Photoshop for Dummies, and then saw a friend do some little tricks, and then I dove into it and then learned. Um, so so I'm not a classically trained designer. I'm just a curious person who loves design and who said one day when I had Photoshop, okay, I'm a designer. I was I
Wow,
was I was that kid who said, I know how to put some drop shadows on my text. I'm a designer.
you're hired.
Yeah, and then I learned HTML. I studied how to make websites.
Wow.
It's just curiosity that
So you're really
got me.
digital, no? Like even like from the get go, you were
Yeah,
really
I
delving
was.
more into the digital space.
Yeah, I did. I drew as a kid, but I wasn't like parang for formally pursuing a career in that. I took up engineering in college, and I spent 8 years there.
Mm.
Wow.
Basically being a lost kid, and then in my fifth year of school, that's what I discovered Photoshop. And for the last 3 years of those years, I stopped attending classes. Although I was parang paying for tuition. I wasn't going to school. I was just in front of the computer learning how to do tricks on Photoshop and learning design. And then now I'm still learning. 20 years later, 25 years later, still learning.
Brilliant.
So
No, clearly. Yeah. Yeah. I do want to give some shout outs because we're getting a lot of love from Kumu. So thank you
Yes.
everyone.
Hello, hello.
Um for our Facebook viewers, again, we're also streaming this on Kumu. If you do tune in to our Kumu streams, you actually get to send over some questions. So reminding everyone, we just got this conversation started. So please send questions your way to AJ, whether it be about graphic design or non fungible tokens. That's the main topic of the day. But anyway, on to our next question, AJ. Um, we we know that beyond just being like a solo graphic designer, you've always had like this kind of like this communal drive to you, almost like an advocacy to kind of bring more opportunities, especially in like the evolving digital spaces, to more Filipino artists. So, could you tell us more about how you evolved from being just like a solo practitioner to being really like somewhat of a leader in the Filipino graphic design community?
ako parang it wasn't, yeah, it's parang ever since kasi when I started, like back in the day in the early 2000s nga, I started to see the value of community. When I was learning, when I was a little, I guess younger, 20s kid, um, parang I wasn't confident, right? So I was trying to learn. I had no schooling, so I discovered this website called Half Project. They were run by my friends back in the day. They were a big online design portal back in the day, and they're quite big all over the world. And they were from the Philippines. So
Yeah.
I understood the value of being part of a community. So I became part of the community, met some friends, and learned some design parang tricks, and learned from some other designers in the Philippines. So parang I already saw na this is how you grow pala into a career, is to be involved and to be around people who are also going through the same things and learning. So as my career went along, since then, back in the early 2000s, parang I've been trying to really involve myself in many communities. Like there's a group in Facebook called Graphic Artists Philippines. They're probably the biggest group with like 70,000 people.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, started by Isaac King and some other people. So parang, and then you see the people struggling. You see people asking about how much do I charge for a logo? Is it okay to charge 500 pesos? Is it okay to charge a logo for a load worth 100 pesos?
Wow.
Yung mga ganon. So parang I
Yeah.
saw na, okay, these are the same things that I was trying to learn as I was growing up in the industry. So I guess it's really a way to just give back to the community because it also helped me back in the day. So like um, I don't know, you had Joey of Team Manila a few weeks
Yes,
ago.
we did.
Yes, 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 yes.
Got
Yeah,
the
and
Team
then
Yeah,
Manila
yeah.
Crosser collab.
yeah,
I
There
was
you
gonna
go.
say,
Jesse,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Jesse,
Courtney.
designed by Dan Matutina.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Ano,
Matutina.
shout
Share
out.
some love for that. Send them
Yeah, and
diamonds.
then they all became friends, and then we started the Communication Design Association of the Philippines, essentially to really help the industry. So on ground, we're not we've done a few projects, but the whole I know of CDAP is what we call is really working with government, like with government policy. We're helping like the uh, Congressman Toff de Venecia passed some bills on a creative industry bill, things like that. We're working on a bigger scale.
Wow.
And then on a personal level, ako, since 2008, kasi I've been in what people call an online Filipino worker, basically being in the Philippines and
Yeah.
then having projects from all over the world come to us instead of leaving the country. So parang akala ko by now, parang it should be just such a normal thing, di ba? Which it is
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
the pandemic. But then people are still struggling and they're losing jobs locally, and I'm like, there's so many jobs. There's so many jobs all over the world. So I started this group called the Filipino Nomads Creative Network.
Mm.
It's a Facebook group where I just post job leads for things that I'm not good at. I'm not good at copywriting. I'm not good at video editing. So I share leads to other people so
Wow.
that other Filipinos can earn an income online, being an online Filipino worker. Parang my advocacy is, you don't have to leave the Philippines to have a great career or because the projects come to us because we're quite good,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's really that's really
It's
something that I
it's
believe
so
in, that
true.
we are probably the most creative people in the world, and I believe that in my heart. So that's what I try to tell people na wag hindi tayo small time, big time tayo. So dapat yung mga wages natin, yung kinikita natin, big time din. So
Mm, correct.
Yeah.
so, and we can do that. We can do that right now, and I've been doing that for since 2008, more than 10 years now, and it's really doable. You don't have to leave the country. Lalo na yung creative people.
Yeah.
Obviously, some people have to be in factories in other countries. I mean, they have to physically be there, diba? So, but if you're a creative person, you, this time of in the history of man is probably the best time to be a creative
Yeah.
person. The
Yeah.
opportunities are wild and it's abundant. So yeah.
Send
Pawi, I
send some
remember.
diamonds if you agree. Yes.
Pawi, I remember, di ba, we also talked about this before with our previous guest, Juni Frio, kasi he is
Oh
into
yeah.
video game art. And apparently many of the video games that we see, like the concept art, the
Yes.
production, it's really outsourced in the Philippines and many are
It's right
freelance
there. Yeah.
artists. And
There you go.
yeah. Yeah, and it reminds me na how community is such an integral. You can say it's an inherent part of artistry. Like, you know how like many artists really they flock to spaces. Like this is like a space for the beatniks. This is a space for the
Mm.
indie musician. So you can't you can't separate community and like that that guidance, that guidance, this ushering of the new generation into the art space. I think that's what we're seeing now, whether
Yeah.
that's via groups like what
Yeah.
AJ built, and also in the digital space, na parang it's that behavior is being translated into that. So talking about the digital space, so I wanna ask you, AJ, like how this advocacy evolved into the NFT space. So like, can you tell us like how can you tell us about the inception of like First Mint Fund? Like how did you get into NFTs and building this organization? Is that correct? Am I calling, what should I call First Mint Fund?
It's not really
Yeah,
an
yeah,
org, but it's
yeah,
just a fund that I manage.
yeah,
So essentially this year, so since I'm big on the online thing, right?
yeah.
So parang I joined the community of and if I joined this other app, not on not Kumu, uh, where we met. So,
Clubhouse.
Yeah,
That's where we met. And
Clubhouse.
Tristan and I would,
yeah,
yeah, we'd be on that.
We have a
Anyway,
room. We do a room. Yeah.
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 So okay, so yeah, we met in Clubhouse, and that's how I discovered NFTs because people were talking NFTs, NFT. What are they? And I learned the same things as you were learning just now. Um, and then I spoke in one of the stages, and then somebody was saying, "Hey, AJ, I'm from the Philippines also," and I'm like, parang, parang he kind of knew of me. Uh, and then he said, his name's Gabby Dizon. He said, if you ever create NFTs, I'll buy them. I'll buy three of your first NFTs. Just create them, and then I'll buy them.
name your price.
So okay, he gave a budget.
Okay,
He
okay.
gave a budget, and I'm like, okay, that's I guess a good price. I've never sold any NFTs before, so it took me a while because I didn't know what NFTs were. I was trying to learn NFTs on Clubhouse for the next 2 weeks, and he said, kung panay Clubhouse ka lang, walang mangyayari sa'yo. Just make your NFTs, and I'll buy them. I told you I'm gonna buy them. Parang okay, sige na nga, parang na-pressure ako, and then I created these three NFTs. And then he said, "Why did you create three at the same time? Dapat one lang." And I didn't know parang what they call the Genesis NFT pala is so important. It's like your first ever NFT. Parang siya yung una
Yeah.
mong nilabas sa world. It's like your first single if you're a singer or a
Really?
band.
May
Oh
added
So
my
it's
value
very
gosh.
yun.
short.
Parang
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so it's your
True.
first single. It determines your career, your path. I mean, but it's okay if you make mistakes. People learn.
Yeah.
Pero that's what they were saying. That parang yeah, it's very important. So I created three at the same time, and then he bidded. It was on a bidding website where you can bid on the NFT. He bidded on the three, and then three people all of a sudden bidded against him. So parang nagka-bidding war. Nagka-bidding war. Tapos,
Oh, so
so,
good.
and then all of a sudden he after na bid, he lost two and he won one. Uh, and he dropped a lot of Ethereum at that time. And I'm like, how is it possible that you can create a digital piece of work and then also sell it digitally? To me, that was such a game changer because remember in the 90s, I create work digitally on Photoshop. And when you create something digitally on a computer, nobody gave value to that work, right? Parang, ginawa mo lang sa computer yun eh, di ba? Parang
yeah.
that was the negative connotation of being
Hanggang ngayon, di ba, minsan? Hanggang ngayon,
ganun pa
parang
rin yun
ganun pa rin,
hanggang
yeah.
ngayon. Ganun pa rin ang negative. Oh, madali lang naman yun. Nagpipindot-pindot ka lang ng mga kung ano-ano. O ginawa mo lang yan sa phone, di ba? So parang people
Mm.
look down upon the work of us who are digitally creating our work. Kasi they don't see the value of the work in itself. So parang ako, I had to become something else. I had to become a web designer. I had to become a graphic
Mm.
designer. So I can put the design on a physical thing, right? So
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
to put the design on a poster. I have to put the
It's
design
like a
on a
means to an
brochure.
end.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have to put the design on a T-shirt. I've been a T-shirt designer for the last 12 years also. So all our value of being a digital parang artist or designer is valued if it has a physical equivalent of it.
Correct.
Imagine
Wow.
that. So, 'di ba? So
Very
parang
true.
uh, so but NFTs have turned the tables on that idea because when it's the digital media now, um, people will see the value in the actual digital media and it
Yeah.
stays in a digital format. Paano? Kasi nga nilagay mo sa blockchain at
Ah,
na-prove mo na ito lang yung design na yon. Gets?
yeah,
So yung
yeah,
mga people are willing to buy na ito lang yung design na to. But people can still download, they can right click and save.
yeah,
Pero may value ba yung work na yun kung dinownload mo at sinave mo? Wala. Sa kanila, the people who buy it, may value yung nagsasabi na akin yung design na to.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow,
Gets mo?
Yeah.
wow.
Yung value niya is in the owning of the NFT. Na
Yeah.
parang I own this and I paid this much for this. So, so yun.
Grabe no, Tristan. It's almost
Wait,
like owning like a
nagland
song
mo.
or a movie, right?
Yeah,
Like the
Yeah.
actual, which you could
exactly.
never do before. Like the real
Yeah.
movie, whatever that is.
Alam mo yun, parang, what I'm, kasi ako rin parang nagagalaxy brain ako right now na parang in the past, like we attribute value to what's tangible. Okay,
Yes.
art has to be turned into a shirt for it to be valuable, or you have to turn this into a poster for it to be valuable. You have to create a Mondo poster. There right now, like the idea itself, kasi parang that idea itself can be valuable kasi it's already in the digital
Yeah,
space eh. Diba? So parang,
Think about it. Like
yeah,
everything, the whole IG and Facebook and YouTube universe is alive because of the digital work of
yeah.
yeah,
artists.
Like it's not like we're gonna print our Instagram photos. Like people don't value it
yeah,
for that. No.
So lahat ng buong billions of dollars that are being made by these platforms were created because of artists like ourselves who create the work.
Yeah. Wow.
So they're essentially making all the money on us, on
it's,
our work. That's
it's,
why the decentralization of NFTs are trying to change. They call it the Web 3.0. Web 3.0 is
Oh
wala nang
right.
owners na
yeah,
ganun. Ang owner na is the creator. So wala nang magkukuha ng lahat ng akin yung lahat ng videos, akin lahat ng pictures na So imagine a world where our creations are on platforms where you own it and you can monetize it. So yun yung tinatry i-build no ng NFTs and the blockchain and all that. So it's much bigger than
untracking talaga. Oo.
yeah, it's much bigger than just a JPEG file or a GIF file. So
And
kaya
what about
kaya
the
pala
fund
ako nag-first mint
specifically,
fund.
AJ?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kaya pala ako nag-first mint fund. Kasi sorry nawala tayo.
No, no, it's great.
Si Gabby, the guy who bought the work, sabi niya, AJ, do you have any friends who want to get into NFTs? And I said, yeah, I think people are asking, ganyan, people would be interested. And he said, at that time kasi when I created my first NFTs, the minting fees that we were talking about earlier, ito yung binabayad natin
Mm, mm.
sa mga wait staff. May minsan $60, $100, $150, $200. So para kunin mo lang yung isang menu sa waiter, pagbabayad ka ng $200. So it's not sustainable. So that's why sabi ni Gabi, sabi niya, I want to start a fund and let you handle it and find some more Filipino artists as well as Southeast Asian artists so that we can pay for the fund, the gas fees that they need to create NFTs.
Mm.
So si Gabby Dizon and si Colin Goltra, they're partners in this online gallery called Nara Gallery. So yung gallery na art gallery nasa blockchain din.
I'm
So
searching
wala
it right
siyang
now.
wala siyang physical gallery. It's
Wow.
also on the blockchain and it's in a game called the Decentraland. So
Sorry,
so
can you say
yung
that
world
again?
niya,
The central lab?
Decentraland.
Oh,
Decentraland.
land. Oh,
So
crazy.
so yung land na yun is also decentralized. So it's not on a physical parcel land. There's no physical space. It's an online space also.
Wow.
So they which they call the metaverse. So this whole
Metaverse.
world,
Parang ano
this whole
eh.
world, yeah.
We need to do another episode. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why we're only doing one episode on
Parang
this? We
ano,
need
alam
to-
mo, we took the red pill, blue pill, red pill.
Yeah. It's like AJ just like
Actually-
plunges. Like I just like sank through my seat here.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It's
Okay.
deep kasi akala ko ganun lang yung NFTs and then it opens up yung decentralization and then it opens up cryptocurrencies
Yep.
and then yung so parang sabi ko oh my god to me, this is like the when I discovered internet and Photoshop in the 90s.
Mm,
On my modem, on my 26.6K modem. Uh,
yeah,
this is that world now. Yung blockchain,
that's true.
crypto.
No,
This
because
is that
with
world.
those innovations back then, you could already see the infinite applications, like the infinitude of applications, which we're still unpacking to this day. But you're right. This is the Web
We're still
3.0
yeah.
version.
Some people are still not online. Diba?
Yeah,
So this is a different world where wala nang wala nang mga central Googles of this world. Parang the idea of ownership would be different. Mga ganon.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Daming
Okay.
ano, daming holes that you can
Oh
go
my
into.
gosh. Too much to Tristan. Too much to unpack in one episode. No.
Galaxy brain
we,
nga talaga eh. Like
we
talagang,
gotta we gotta
wag
climb back up to the surface because I sank into like the depths over there. But anyway, just reminding everyone who's watching, especially those on Kumu, you can send some questions. We already had a question come our way. We'll bring that in later. But for now, AJ, just wanted to ask how are you guys doing? How's First Mint Fund and the overall as for the overall Filipino market or the community of graphic designers, are we seeing more Filipino artists venture into the NFT space?
as they
Yes,
should.
there was a deluge earlier when there was also a hot parang point in March, April.
Oh yeah,
It's dwindled down a bit because the fees also are way lower now. So
it's
when
good.
I started, the fund was the Gabby and Colin they just gave me like 1 point something ETH, which was at that time worth
That
100,000 pesos, and
nice.
then it grew to about 7 ETH, 8 ETH, which at its highest point at $4,000 an ETH was more than 1.5 million pesos yata. And then now it's the 7 point something ETH that I need to give away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Kasi since the fees now are much lower, that
Yeah.
if if
Sorry,
I pay
AJ.
for some
Can you
fees.
can you explain how exactly the fees declined? What led to that?
Okay. So they I think they've had improvements in the whole
Like
Ethereum
parang
blockchain. Yeah.
naging mas efficient sila.
Sabihin na natin
Ah,
pwedeng gumaling yung mga wait staff at tapos yung buong system ng restaurant gumanda na yung how they
Comparison
serve
entity umano
people.
na. Oo.
Uh, Naayos nila yung back-end nila, yung kitchen nila, mas bilis na yung
mm,
magpadala ng pagkain, bilis na maglagay ng menu, gano'n. So the fees are much lower. And there's also lesser, parang after the initial parang spike of like interest back in March, April, May, medyo nag-dwindle na yung interest. Pero there are still some platforms that are like really aggressively selling, na tumataas yung selling nila of NFTs.
mm,
Yung platform na OpenSea.io.
yep.
Parang, yeah, so that's why the fees are much better now. So if you mint now and list your work, siguro it'll cost you about $20 total. Pero to an artist, that's still $1,000 pesos, di ba? So
Yeah.
na hindi posibleng mabenta yung work niya. So it would become just like a cost of say buying a paintbrush or buying a new uh, mouse or buying a new uh, something that you use
Mm.
for your computer. So
Mhm.
it's like marketing cost. 1,000 pesos, 2,000 pesos, ganun lang yung fees. So yun. So I
Wow.
still have to get rid of 7 ETH or yeah,
Okay, you heard that, everyone watching. If you're an
You're an
artist
artist.
and you want to mint your
yeah,
NFTs, we'll leave
yeah.
the
Just
Yeah. The link. Yeah.
firstmintfund.com. Yeah.
ayan firstminfund.com. There you go.
Actually, parang I think this ties in nicely into my next question. Kasi like we're talking really about the big disruption that NFTs blockchain has basically impacted different industries eh. Like not just the tech space but also like the art scene. And I remember reading, because again I'm a big comic book reader, and we talked about ownership, like how many of the art that we see right now, the ones who are earning are not really the creators but like the larger holding companies. And I remember like
Mhm.
I forgot which of the big two, either Marvel or DC or both of them. But like since many of their artists started putting their own NFTs, it's like the big companies are saying bawal yan kasi technically sa amin yung sa amin yan
Yeah,
yung pinopost mo eh. So it's basically
the trademarks or the
there's a lot
yeah.
of market adjustments. So I want to ask you like what do you see is the future of NFTs? How do you see it? How do you see the market responding to this brand new innovation? And then like what are the ways it's being applied right now? Because I know we talk about before we started
Mm.
doing the show, we talked about Axie Infinity. So like can you also like paint a
Games.
landscape of the ways NFTs are being applied right now?
Well, it's interesting you brought in comics, no? Because
Yeah.
probably the most successful NFT artist from the Philippines. His name is, at least in terms of commercial success, his name is Luis Buenaventura. You should also talk to him. He's big on crypto. He's also an NFT artist. He has a platform online where you can exchange and buy cryptocurrency essentially. So he collaborated with the artist named do you know Jose Delbo, Tristan? He was
Um,
basically yeah and
who said Delbo? I have
yeah
to double check.
yeah
Sorry.
he's an 87-year-old dude from
Wow.
Argentina, 87
Wow.
or 94 or something. He used to do a lot of Wonder Woman
Oh,
stuff
okay.
and all those, yeah.
So ano, yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah, so he has a huge collection of work. And,
Okay. So, 80s nga siya.
Wow.
yeah, and then he gave parang he collaborated with Luis Buenaventura from here and gave him parang an illustration, and then Luis colored it in, he animated it and added some whatever music and whatnot, and then they sold about 222 copies of that, worth $2,000 each.
Wow.
So if you multiply
Wild.
222 times $2,000, that's how
Oh,
much they made in like 10 minutes or less than 30
oh
minutes. Yeah.
man.
Wild.
So
Or
super,
87 years of that guy's life, but yeah.
Yeah.
super,
Good
super,
Leading
point.
up to that point.
super wild, diba? So I guess that's what 20 million
Yeah.
pesos or something. So yun.
Yeah.
He's pretty well known. He talks about cryptocurrency. He talks about NFTs. He talks about Axie Infinity. He should bring him into the show as
Okay.
well.
Nice.
He's very
Luis
cool.
Buenaventura.
And then yeah, so a lot of the companies now are trying to get into the
Mm.
space. Like I don't
Like the
know if
big
you saw,
players.
yeah, the big players. So like Space Jam gave a new NFT.
I saw
People,
I
Oh.
saw Space Jam nga.
yeah, and then
Always basketball, no? Because NBA Top Shots, they were an early adopter.
yeah,
Always
the
basketball.
DCs and Marvels of this world. I think it was DC that told their artists, no, don't ever sell NFTs, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Ah.
Parang bawal kayong
There's
magbenta
parang two
niyan.
camps, no?
Yeah, kasi it's their IP, di ba? Pero some
Yeah.
of the artists, they say, no, this is my IP. I created this. I can sell it. So parang I don't know how that works in that world.
At wala
Baka
silang habol dun, di ba? Kasi parang wala pa sa laws ang crypto
Mm.
yeah,
masyado.
baka either on the artist perspective sa
Correct.
iyo yung may comic, sa iyo yung comic
Yeah.
na physical, pero
Correct.
yung original drawing na to akin to, baka ganon, no? So a lot of the comic
Interesting.
book artists are selling their originals for thousands and thousands of
While they
dollars.
can.
Yeah. So but the big names will also create their own kasi I think DC and Marvel are now in the platform called VEVE. VEVE
Oh.
Okay.
is so
Interesting.
VEVE NFTs. Look at that. So they're within their own platform. Parang what they're saying naman now about those things is um, people who now create their own platforms and put up their own websites and all those things. Parang it goes against NFTs and decentralization kasi nga
Right. Right.
i-control mo na naman lahat
May
eh.
ownership na ulit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Parang parang
Wow.
some of them are technically not NFTs daw kasi pag bumagsak na yung website na yan, wala na siya sa blockchain. Kumbaga,
Oh, wow.
lahat ng NFT mo mawawala na rin. So yun nga yung point nila is dapat pag nawala ka 100 years from now, wala na yung company mo, yung NFT buhay pa rin yan nasa blockchain pa rin yan.
Yeah.
So imagine like 100 years from now, wala na yung lahat ng Amazons and platforms of this world. But you can still buy my NFT because it's on the blockchain. And the blockchain is where it's on all the computers all over the world.
Yeah.
So
Like
walang
each, like
him
almost every computer has a little jigsaw puzzle piece, and then it,
so probably I
they
don't know
all
if
have.
it has that, but they probably can have something physical, yeah, like that on their computers. But
Yeah.
they can basically I forget the word. Parang they can confirm na yeah, totoo to.
Yeah. Yeah.
This any
Interesting.
computer on the blockchain can say, yeah, I confirm that it's real. This is the blockchain. This is the address. This is the NFT. It was created back in the day. Blah blah blah. So parang
Hydra na siya.
wala
Hydra
namang
na.
pwede mag-off. Wala nang pwede
Yeah.
mag-off ng blockchain.
Uh.
You can't turn it off
Yeah.
unless wala na talagang kuryente sa buong mundo. Pero
We are legion and we are many.
Hopefully that doesn't come down to that. Well, anyway, we're wrapping up quite nicely, but we do have a couple of questions left, and I also want to give a shout out to some of our faithful Kumu viewers here. Shout out to
Oh,
Ayel, good friend of ours. What up,
yes.
Ayel?
Hey, Ayel. And
Also
Christopher Star.
Raquel. Oh yeah, Christopher Star,
Christopher Star. Previous
friend of the
guest.
podcast. Thank you for the gift. Raqueli 778307 for sharing the live and also just saying what up. Hello, Lalaine Joy Gonzalez. Anyway, if you're tuning in just now and you missed most of it, don't worry. As usual, this comes out in podcast form next Monday, July 19th. You just gotta follow Hustle inside the industry on whatever podcast platform. And also, we're streaming on Facebook right now. So you can always just rewind on Facebook on Rappler's Facebook page. But again, for all of you who aren't familiar with Kumu yet and you want to check it out, download the Kumu app, follow Rappler.com, Rappler DOTCOM. So we did have a question come in from our audience. AJ, we'll make this a two-parter because their question was rather specific. So we kind of have to go in first with number one. Like, what would you like? Give us an example of like the implications of NFTs in games, like video games. And number two, this is so our users Giancarlo De Jesus. He's asking more or less, will there be a future in like if when there's NFTs in games, which I think there are already. What will be the
Let's
future of like the play to earn style? If you know what we're talking about, like will gamers really like get super into playing the game to make money? You know?
yeah. So yeah, let's tackle the first question first. So NFTs in games. So I'm not a huge gamer, but I've gamed. I played games and I played like NBA. I played this
Mhm.
game called The Division, yung mga barilan.
Yes,
And
divisions.
Yeah, Division. So hindi siya kasing sikat well back in the day, mga Call of Duty and all those things. So imagine, so again, so all these platforms they're centralized. All these games they're centralized. So meaning if you get a piece of item, yun yung mga important item things in games, di ba? Yung mga items. You know, you have a nice weapon, you have a nice pair of sneakers, you buy a nice T-shirt for your avatar. You buy a nice, dance move so that they can dance in front of your
Fortnite.
friends.
Fortnite.
Fortnite, diba? So parang everything about all these games, everything is centralized. So meaning you can't take any of your ownership in your game and bring it outside to another world. You can't. Kumbaga, it just stays within the game, and the value is within the game itself only. So if the developers decide that one day I'm gonna not fix this game anymore, wala na mamamatay na lang yung mga
Oh my god,
nakuha
it's
mong
true.
things. And you
Yeah,
spent money. You spent real money to
yeah, you
buy
spend
these
real
things.
money. That's
You
gone
spent
forever.
real money and you spent real time. You invested your time to make to play these games. So yung remember Gabby Dizo, he's the guy
Right,
who
right.
bought my NFT. You should also get him on this platform because
There we go.
he can talk more about NFT and
Lead us
gaming
down to the rabbit hole pa, di ba?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
acts and the game acts in infinity. So when you put the game assets on the blockchain, that means they can live outside of the game.
true.
That
Yeah.
means they can live. You can transfer them to other players from anywhere in the world, and they can play it within their game.
Oh my
Kumbaga,
gosh.
if I
Wow.
had a gun or if I had a pair of shorts or sneakers in NBA 2K and it was only two in the world, I can sell it to somebody in another country and they will pay for that and they can use it in their game. So
Wow.
imagine you can trade your assets. So the way they did that is they put the asset in the from the game, they put it on the blockchain as NFTs.
Ah.
So
Mm.
pwede mo ngayon i-trade yung mga game assets called
And my
axes.
actual and my actual value siya.
My
It reminds
actual value siya, it ties in with the value of
yeah,
the coin, which is
uh,
they created a
yeah,
cryptocurrency coin.
yeah,
So, ang laki ng mundo na yon. So,
Wow.
imagine when all games na for in the future, di pa siya ganun ka. I'm sure the big companies and studios are already looking into it. Pero imagine the big companies kasi they hate this. Eh. They hate the fact na you can take an asset and then sell it to somebody else. Kasi
they want to
posibleng
be the one.
they want to be
Yeah.
the one.
Be the
Yeah,
They
one
they
to
want
want
to
to
sell
cut.
it.
They
Yeah,
control
want to cut.
yeah,
they want to control the economy. It's
yeah,
possible they put it on the blockchain and then they get a cut every time. Pwede
Yeah.
yun. Kasi 'di ba sa nangyari na dito yung you can play a game here and then you physically meet up with someone, ibebenta ko na yung asset sa'yo.
yeah.
Have you heard of that? May mga
Yeah.
dito nagkaaway pa raw yung mga tao sa mga restaurant. Parang
No, for sure. That's a
yeah,
thing.
there's an
Captors yun eh.
economy. There's an economy na legal economy na
Yeah.
in the old time before NFTs. Then you can buy something. I forget what game that was. Parang nagsuntukan ba
Diablo
sila sa
3. Diablo
pang
3 when they had
ganyan.
the auction house,
Uh,
people were really making money off of those items.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they could sell. You could sell it. So now it's legit na yung economy. Right? So imagine all
Ragna daw,
games
sabi ni
become.
Naoki. It's
Yun.
Ragna.
Ragnarok pala yun.
Ragnar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Ragnarok.
Naoki.
Yung nagbibigay sila ng mga
Shout out to
nagbebenta sila ng mga
Naoki from
yung
Raptor.
mga
Yeah.
swords or whatever. Like anyway,
Yeah.
so imagine that whole world is now legit and you can. So parang tong sila Gabi, they're saying that since you're playing the game, you're actually working for the developers. Oh, ano, come to think of it, I'm working for the
Oh
developer
my
by
god.
playing their game. So right, I'm working. I'm a worker. I'm a game worker.
Capitalism's evolving.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Capitalism's evolving too.
I'm having another
Right,
blue
so-
pill, red pill moment.
So parang why not create a game where when you're gaming, you're working. Therefore,
Yeah.
you have to earn money.
Yeah. Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So when you
Wow.
when you earn in-game currency, you can convert that to cryptocurrency, and then you can convert that to pesos.
Correct.
You're
Correct.
working for that. You spent your time. Parang that changes the dynamic and the whole paradigm of gaming. Right? So you can literally
Excellent.
make money playing games or working games. So my
Yeah.
son, who's 20, it's his first job now. He's playing Axie Infinity.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So-
nice.
Shout out.
He's 20. He's 20, and he said, "Oh, last year he said I want to do gaming, Dad, Mom, ganyan. Sige, let's invest in a computer. You pay us back when you get a job." Tapos, and then you're like, "This is your chance. This is a job. This is Axie Infinities. You can make money playing the game." And then we have helped him invest in the Axie, and now he can. Sabi niya, he's gonna start becoming a manager of scholars. Yung
Yeah.
scholars naman, yeah.
I
So,
hear that a lot nga.
yung scholar naman is they can't afford to buy into the game kasi ngayon mahal na yung Axis. So they can
Yes.
you can spend 50,000 pesos, 80,000 pesos, 100,000 just to get into the game.
Wow.
So
Our
yeah,
producer Naoki said he's a scholar daw.
There you go. Shout out to Naoki. We'll
magaling
bring
ka
him
ba,
on the
Naoki?
stage next
May-
time. Hi,
Yeah,
Jen
so-
Fernandez. Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
So yeah, then therefore we can create these
Wow.
games where hopefully there's a Filipino studio who can create a NFT game, play to earn game.
Come on, let's go. Yeah.
Hopefully all games become play to earn.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Parang,
Good thing you
right?
mentioned it ngayon. Nanghihinayan ko bigla. Like, kasi, if you guys don't know, actually at night, I am a witcher. I am a...
A
I
Witcher
hunt
3?
monsters. A Witcher 3, specifically.
Oh,
I'm a
So,
okay, okay,
Gwent
okay.
master, by the way. Anyway, keep
May,
going.
may season 2 na dyan na. I haven't played the game,
magkakaroon.
but,
I
but
mean,
I watched the series.
Tristan will
Yeah.
never shut up about that for sure. Yeah.
So parang sayang pala no if this was if this was like play to earn, if play to earn was a thing long ago, I could have been like
Yes.
a like you know,
Super.
A
I'm like
real Witcher.
a witcher.
Ako,
Business card ko.
I played this game, The Division, for 5 hours a day, like
Oh
for
my god,
a
Division's
couple
so
of
fun.
years. Yeah, and then parang I was so invested in it. I was buying stuff, paying for with PayPal or credit cards. Ay nako. And then sana nga by before meron na play to earn pa.
No, but it's interesting. We're only talking about NFTs, and we'll only talk about that because that's the main topic of today. But it's worth mentioning that within this gaming medium alone, I can probably think of three ways to monetize, including NFTs. There's either you're a pro gamer,
Yeah.
like that pro athlete model, or it's streaming. And now we're here on Kumu, and now people are sending us diamonds. So anyway, that's
Yes.
already we're seeing a bright
That's the future, di ba?
multi-branch future.
Parang
Yes.
low-key lang eh. So low-key na yung multi-branch feature. So before we get carried away into this like topic, kasi like we've opened the time stream basically. We've been branching na the convo.
Flood.
Sobrang
Um,
dami. Sobrang dami.
we wanna wrap things up nicely. So before we let you go, we wanna know like what's next for you and First Mint. Like what can we look forward to from you, AJ?
For me, on a personal level, I'm working
Yeah.
with someone for an NFT drop. Pero it's going to be what's happening now kasi there's a lot of interest now in parang NFT avatar projects, meaning yung mga you can use them on your they have
Oh,
characters. You like crypto
yeah,
monks, like
yeah.
crypto kitties, or essentially people have yun yung buhay na buhay pa ngayon. Actually, marami rin yung mga single NFT artwork, marami rin yun. Pero now it's
Sure.
really the NFT avatar projects that are really parang sort of killing it at this point.
Wow.
Parang a lot of an NFT avatar project coming out every week, and they release 10,000 NFTs, with unique characteristics, and then people buy them up in the hundreds or dozens for about like 0.08 ETH, 0.05 ETH,
Mm.
mga ganyan.
Hmm.
So I'm working on something like that with a company out of
Wow.
Singapore and Australia. So, and then for First Mint Fund, we're still continuing to look for artists all over the Philippines and around Southeast Asia. I mean, it's not a big operation. It's just whoever, applies on firstmintfund.com. I take a look at the portfolio, and then if they have a body of work, and then okay, mukhang meron naman silang good IG dati, o sige, let's give them some funding so they
Nice.
can create an NFT. Yun. So
Wow.
hopefully more people get into it and start their NFT careers.
Realization ko like may Tumblr, puro pwede tong NFT sana dati oh.
And there you go.
Different art oh, ang guerrilla oh. Shout out sa ang
Tris-
guerrilla.
Tristan, you haven't even thought about the NFT Tumblr itself. And then that NFT Tumblr will have NFT stickers. Anyway, no, but super inspiring, AJ. Super exciting what you're doing. So more power to you. More power to everyone watching here who's getting amped, maybe starting to think about how to get involved. AJ already dropped the details. And by the way, AJ, what's very interesting about how how humbly you conveyed this process of yours is it's really not that much of a departure now from how you got your start with these like online forums. It's still very, very much like a direct interaction with what you're doing and a very communal thing. So
Yeah.
best of luck with that. We're not gonna let you go just yet. This is the last thing. We're gonna wrap things up as we always do with our play of the week. We talked a lot about work. Now let's talk about play. any fun activities or recommendations for our listeners to get to unwind from the busyness of business?
For me, it's I haven't been out of the house since in a couple of months, so I don't know anything outside of the my house. But when I unwind, I listen to um, Angelo's Shoe Shine ASMR channel on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, what is it?
Oh,
I'm already gonna check it out.
I think
same.
it's Angelo's. I think I can't believe it. I'm sharing it, but it's I really like this dude
Oh,
shining shoes on,
yeah,
on
literal pala.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
The sound of shoes being.
Yeah, because
Um,
I used to be my dad used to teach me that as a kid. So parang there's a nice parang background and parang childhood memory and also
nostalgia.
nostalgia as well as parang it's just so calming that somebody's shining shoes.
I was supposed to be focused on the stream, but now I'm watching this dude
Yeah.
shining some
So
shoes.
I watch shoe shining. I listen when I work. So I listen to
Yeah,
him shoe shine. So nagbubukas siya ng mga thing, tapos tinatap niya yung shoes, parang to me that's like,
it's
oh man,
crazy.
so cool.
It's like 45 minutes.
It's crazy, man. This
Yeah,
that what
yeah, yeah. Brilliant. That's a good one. We haven't gotten this kind of play of the week yet,
I
Tristan.
didn't even know na may shoe shine ASMR pala, no? Kasi normally just
uh,
like the tapping, the...
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
shoe
yeah.
shine is my favorite now.
Okay, now we know. Now everyone
Rabbit
knows.
hole.
Drop
Galaxy
some
brain.
diamonds for that. AJ's got the hookups. How about you, Tristan? What's your play of the week?
I've been watching. I know we talked about this last week, but
Mm.
I've been watching anime, and I actually tried something new. So it's called Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
been
it's
around for a while, right? I mean,
I
it.
think the manga has been around for a while, but like the anime, I don't know. I think it's a Netflix original that dropped last
Yeah, yeah,
year.
yeah. Last year,
Yeah, so it's
correct.
it's very Japanese, Japanese anime bull. No, like there's this guy with a crocodile head,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah. This is the one.
he's like searching for the guy for the sorcerer who turned him into this caiman, this alligator man, and then like the way he does it, like
Ooh.
alam mo sa alien, like when the alien pops out and then there's like this
Yeah.
little alien in his mouth. So what he does is like he gets a sorcerer. He puts the guy in his mouth, and then milalabas na human, and then they'll say, this is not the sorcerer who turned you
Uh,
into an alligator being." So
okay.
alam mo, like it's metal, it's
Yeah,
crazy, but it's Japanese anime bull.
and it's got the humor of it.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Doro. Nice, dude.
Dorohedoro. Yeah.
Doro. For mine, I'm gonna slightly give up my play of the week slot just to remind everyone out there, if you can, get vaccinated. It is related to the play of the week in some way, so that you're at least like you're more confident about going out. Not saying that just
Vaccine
because
to
you're fully
play.
vaccinated you should do it, but it should give you a little more peace of mind. So if you can, please do so. You know, whichever one you can get that you're comfortable with, that's tried and tested. So it feels good to be vaccinated, and just reminding everyone to just stay safe out there. Play safe. There you go. Play safe. Anyway, AJ, last plugs. How can people follow you, and how can people follow First Mint?
You can follow First Mint Fund on right now we're only on Twitter, so First Mint Fund. If you want to apply to get funding for your first NFT, go to firstmintfund.com. And if anybody wants to follow me on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn, AJ Dimarucot is my name on all these platforms.
Fantastic. And if you want to follow your hosts here, I'm on mostly Instagram and a bit of Twitter at PowiFiction, PAWI Fiction. Tristan?
Same. I'm mostly on Instagram and Twitter. At Tristan Zinamban. No, walang creativity in that name. Just
There
my
you
given
go.
name, my birth name.
That's
Ako
fine.
rin.
That's
Same.
the NFT. That's the NFT, guys. You're the Tristan Zinafan. Anyway, okay. Thanks so much, AJ. It was very educational and super exciting. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you both.
And thank you out
Thanks,
there
MJ.
for listening, watching on every on whichever platform you're on. If you haven't already, please follow Rappler on all platforms. You can catch us on Kumu by following Rappler.com. You can follow Hustle Inside the Industry podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We bring you a new episode every Monday. So this an edited version of this will come out in audio form next Monday. So you can start your week with a little motivation. We'll see you there. Bye everyone.
Bye. Shout
Bye,
out to
guys.
girlfriend for watching. Hi, Mar. She did the hand sign.
Hi Mark.